Today we'll be exploring the northwest region of Spain, A Coruña. This is part of a three-part series where I explore and trek the regions of Spain and France. If you're new to this channel, what's good? My name is Niel. I am a photographer and documentary-style videographer, and my passion lies within my curiosity. So here, I try to find interesting stories to make us understand the fast and ever-changing world around us. In this episode, we're going to be exploring what the Romans once called the end of the known world.
Very clear question for you. How is the flag of Japan? Where is Japan? In the far east. Okay, and now look at me. According to the pagan old Celtic religiosity, the sun burns in the east, and the sun after cross all the world from the east to the west. The sun sets in the western end of the civilization, which is this part of Spain. Costa, look at me, Costa de la Muerte, which in Spanish means the coast of the sun, because this is the coast where you can see the dead, the sunset. The western cape where finishes this coast is known as Finisterre, which means finish terre. This was the end of the world 2,000 years ago. Until the 16th century, this is the end of the world, you know? For that reason, the sun's represented in these facades, okay?
A Coruña is located in the autonomous community, comprising of 17 regions. This was put into place by the Spanish Constitution of 1978, with the goal of providing limited autonomy to the nationalities and regions that surround Spain. As you can probably tell, the history of these communities spanned nearly 2,000 years. So for the sake of time, I'm going to focus on the spots that I was so privileged to explore. And these four spots are La Torre de Hercules, Plaza de Santa Maria, Iglesia de Santiago de A Coruña, and Monte de San Pedro. These four spots are gonna be the ones we focus on. Repetitive talking. I'm doing this off the top. All right, we're good. Known as the Ferrum Brigantium, I believe. The Torre de Hercules is known to be the oldest working lighthouse in the world. Dating back to the 1st century, in 2009, it has been included as a World Heritage Site by the UNESCO, or the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, aimed at promoting world peace and security through international cooperation in education, arts, sciences, and culture.
The lighthouse is unique in the world because it is a Roman building. The Romans conquered this part of Spain, this area, maybe in the 1st century after Christ. The conqueror was Augustus, the first emperor. As a symbol of the Roman power, the Romans erect a lighthouse, which is much more than a lighthouse. It's, you know, was like an eagle, a Roman eagle, okay, on the last cliffs of the world. It's a symbol. And also, after the death of Augustus, the emperors of the Flavius dynasty started the conquest of Britain. Maybe was this moment when the lighthouse was erected.
According to the Greek mythology, he is the guardian, like the policeman of the frontier between the world of the alive and the world of the dead. Do not forget that this was the end of the world. According to the belief, the souls of the recently dead people have to reach the paradise. that the paradise, according to Celtic mythology, is not there. The paradise is an island known as the Avalon, which is behind the sea, okay? So, for that reason, the garden of the paradise is here.
In the 18th century, the building was restored outside, and maybe the architect kept the idea of the ramp.
As the myth explains, one of the 12 laborers of Hercules was to kill the giant Geryon with an arrow dripped in Hydra's blood. After defeating the giant, Hercules buried the giant with his weapons and ordered the city to build atop the burial site. The city is said to be named after the first woman to live there, named Coruña. A landscape of the city can be seen on the top of the vantage point. The sounds of the North Atlantic calms the community. Very peaceful and serene. It really does feel like the edge of the world. Our next destination is going to be
Plaza de Maria Pita.
Recently married, the two would fight side by side when suddenly a crossbow to his chest would put his life to an end. This fueled Maria Pita's newfound rage, something to fight for. From then on, the city had a leader, someone to look to. It's also good to know that since this, A Coruña holds month-long celebrations dedicated to Maria Pita, the savior of A Coruña. There was a quote that she always echoed, which was, "Those who have honor, follow me."
Maria Pita is the defender of the city because the city was attacked, besieged by the English in the year 1589. Francis Drake is the name of the English admiral. Really, this was a response of the previous Spanish Armada, which sailed from A Coruña in the year 1588. According to our patriotic history, well, we defended the city against the ramparts because you cross the old town. Now we are immediately outside the old town. The ramparts were situated where today we have these facades, and according to the patriotic history of the city, the English opened two holes in the wall. One hole, well, over there, but the most important, the immortal place here, where there is this narrow alley.
All right, if you couldn't already tell, it is the next day. We ran out of sunlight last night, so came back to the same location to finish what we were filming. So after the scenic stroll of the plaza, we headed to Iglesia de Santiago. Built in the 12th century during the reign of Ferdinand II of Leo, this is going to be one of the oldest churches in the area.
Look at this natural rock. Well worked, you know? This rock was prepared, okay? The building is Christian, obviously. It's medieval, erected in the 12th century. But the foundation is older. Are you understanding me? So, the priests, the Catholic priests, erect the church over an old pagan Atlantic Celtic altar piece. We know that A Coruña, in the times before the Romans, was very important in the Celtic religion. This is an example of a Christianization of a sacred pagan area, you know? Now we are in a historical place, stone, okay? Let me tell you my last story of the historic medieval wall. This is the main facade of the church. According to the priests, Jesus, not me, the real Jesus, Jesus Christ, had the 12 apostles. Well, it was three of them were the most important. They're known as the three columns of the Western civilization. Okay, the first, the most important is Peter. According to the tradition, St. Peter was interred at Rome, because Rome is the center of the world. The Camino di Roma, you know, There is not a pilgrimage way to Rome. No, attention. After Peter, after Rome, two brothers. San James, San John. James, Santiago, John, Juan. Juan is the minor brother. He's represented as a boy. Look at him. He's represented as a kid, okay? Because he's the minor brother of James. James is represented many times as an old. St. John, according to the Catholic faith, was buried at Jerusalem. And there is not the Camino de Jerusalem. There is not a pilgrimage going to Jerusalem. Attention. This one, Santiago, which is considered the third important apostle of Christ, was buried at Santiago de Compostela, 80 kilometers from A Coruña, okay? There is a huge cathedral. A Coruña was considered during the medieval times, especially this church, was considered like the beginning of the pilgrimage road for the English, for the Nordic, and for the European sailors, after crossing the sea. The pilgrims, after have a mass inside, started the pilgrimage way to Santiago. James was transformed later in the 16th century in a warrior, the defender, the helmet of the pagans, the light of Rome. Because Spain, especially after the 16th century, Spain arrived to the Americas and Santiago was converted in an icon. I don't know, but for example, in Cuba, Santiago de Cuba. In Chile, Santiago de Chile. In USA, I don't know, California, a lot of Santiagos. Santiago del Estero, Ecuador. In Mexico, Santiago de Guayaquil, a lot of Santiagos, because Santiago is Spain, was converted in Spain. Are you understanding me?
We would then commute to the Monte de San Pedro, where you'll find an old defense post, which was later converted into a park in 1999. The park holds a copious amount of activities, such as a labyrinth, 2 restaurants, a park, and a panoramic lift and observatory. A Coruña made me realize the pull that a place can have, whether that be through the place itself, the people, the food. Places should be explored. That's what I realized. I was trying to research as much as I could about the place that I went to. I got so much from just being there. Trying to understand a place by what you read in the words is like only half of it. Going there reinforces everything that you read. It also made me learn to keep an open mind, to embrace both the good and the bad. It's all meant to be understood. It's history. For these civilizations, these societies that persevere, it's meant to be learned and understood so that we can maintain these places, so that we can honor these places, so we can make better decisions for the people that live there. The key takeaway that I got was to keep an open mind, to seek for those stories. Don't just go to a place and go to the touristy areas, eat the touristy food. Really get in there, find the corners, find the places where people don't want to go and learn, because there's more to a place than just what shines. There's a lot in the shadows, there's a lot that have faded that still deserve that attention. Yeah, if you like this video, please like, subscribe, and remember this is part 1 of a 3-part series, so yeah, I'll see you guys soon, and peace.